and welcome to Confronting Injustice. I am your host, Linda Solomon, joined by our co-host, James Watson, as we discuss the injustices of the criminal legal system. Our guest today is Dr. James Bruce. Dr. Bruce is a native Bostonian, is an educator, international singer, songwriter, public speaker, educator, among other things. You wear many hats, so welcome this morning.
Thank you so much, and good morning to both of you.
Thank you. So we have three things we'd like to discuss today, because we could be here for a long time. You wear many hats, very talented. So we want to talk about the power of the spoken word, one. We want to have you talk a bit about the connection between your work and injustice, and then talk about your role as an inspirational agent. And so let's start by you telling us a bit about who you are through the lens of the power of spoken words.
Absolutely. Once again, I'm very happy to be here. I have evolved, and I see myself as having evolved into like an inspiration agent. And what that is I've taken on the understanding the wisdom of words, the power of words. I am a Christian and a believer in the Bible, and found in 2 Timothy 3:16. It says, all scripture is given by inspiration of God, that's profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. And I think with just understanding that, I think everything we do, our behavior, our model, things we create should be to inspire people. So people can say, yes, you did it, I can do it too. So everything we see, even nature, we should be inspired by nature. See the flowers bloom and say, wow, that's symbolic of how I could be. See the trees wave in the water, I should be inspired by the timing of it, the seasons, everything. So inspiration should allow us to open our minds, open our hearts, to encourage or be encouraged, and to encourage each other. So I've surrounded my whole understanding around that. So whatever I do, I want to inspire people just by my model, my smile, my words, my actions.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And so in terms of who you are and the power of words, we had a conversation about how words very directly impacted who you are today.
Absolutely.
And because that is so powerful, I wanted you to just share about how you came to be who you are. Share with the audience who Dr. Bruce is, and how the power of words played, role the power of words played in.
I think a part of understanding the power of words is the ability to listen. Listen to the sound of the word, the context, the emphasis of the word, and the source we're coming from. And also try to understand the intention of that source, where it's coming from. Then I think one can understand really kind of like the impact of where it's from. How I grew to accept the understanding the power of the words is how we receive it. So oftentimes there's several purposes for words. It's either to inform, educate, excite, make you angry, or just kind of like cause a reaction. And so understanding that. Now, for personally, how I evolved into this like happy inspiration person, it goes back, and there's a story that's within my family. I had a godmother who was also my great aunt.
Okay.
And as I look back, and I lived long enough, and we lived long enough together to understand what was happening. The story is that when I was 9 months old, and I was number 7 of 10 children, but 7 at that time, and only 9 months old, and my aunt, her name is Ernestine, we call her Ernie, and the story is that she held me in her arms. I was 9 months old, and she looked into my eyes. And by the way, she was very spiritual and very intuitive person, but she was just full of love and full of joy. So that was embodied within her. And so she looked in my eyes, and she began smiling, and she looked over to my mother, and her name is Louise, and the family name is called her Wheezy. She said, Wheezy, This is going to be the brightest child you have. And from that moment on, I could just, well, I couldn't feel, didn't know at 9 months, but I imagined that love just poured into me, and she exhibited it, she demonstrated it. From that point, when I began walking, every time she saw me, she would embrace me, hug me, kiss me on the forehead, the nose, on the cheek, and tell me, you are so great, and you're gonna be so great, you're so smart, you're so handsome, and she just built me up. And as I grew, I could just know within my core, that was love, that was compassion, and that is what the fiber that has instilled in me, and understood that. And I took on a responsibility to try to emulate and understand and appreciate that. Okay. So as I began doing and displaying that in school, I received the School Spirit Awards, the Honor Roll, and she then responded with greeting cards, and then sort of crowning me with these endearing terms like Sir James, or Prince James, or Master James. And every time she said, and occasionally and as I would achieve different things, she said, would report, I told you he's gonna be good, and so forth. And that took on me, and that allowed me to understand and really embrace a sense of self-esteem, that I had value, that I was worth, had great worth, and I understood in that. Gave me pride and understanding of that. And that's what I evolved to, an understanding really. And with that, I had a sense of responsibility to myself, accountability. So with that, not to make me better than anybody else, right, but that just kept me focused, kept me determined. So as it coming up, and of course it exposed in Roxbury to a lot of different other things, the things that people frown on. So as a result, I had no even desire to smoke cigarettes when I could, sneak behind places, or drink, or do drugs, or just play around and stuff. I was just so focused. I said, I have a responsibility to be an example, to follow through, and to be that. And so as I got older, I'm just looking, how can I inspire people? How to let them know that they can do, they can be. And having done all that and achieved so much, having traveled to more than 70 countries, and with that, it got from her an open heart, to accept people, to be inspired by their diversity, by their culture, by their age, or by their story, their life. And also, I've written, as a singer-songwriter, I've written over 1,000 songs, and I just released my book, 58, and I have a law school experience, I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD. In my entire family, I'm the only one to have a PhD, have business owned, self-employed for about 40 years. So all these things, doesn't make me better or worse than anyone else. It's just the key is what makes great for me is that I was able to recognize that power from a very early age, that the power of the spoken word. She spoke it into my spirit, and I recognized that.
So thank you, and that's what I wanted you to share, because I'm not sure that everyone realizes, not enough people realize the power of words and how impactful their relationship with even babies growing up. I mean, words are very powerful. Use them to build people up or tear them down.
Exactly, words matter.
Words absolutely matter.
Words matter.
And it's not connected to your economic status. You can build someone up, even as a child, just by showing love and compassion and helping them feel that they're special.
Exactly. So an understanding how people use words, why they use words, and understanding the interaction with other people. Sometimes people, you have the projection. Sometimes people will put really bad words to somebody else when it's actually they're talking about themselves. Right. And so my thing is to use a reverse psychology if I empower you with the words, and I see you grow up, and you grow, and you fly, and I say, wow, I'm part of that. And in terms of legacy, again, inspiration, as I deem it as legacy, it's not the house or the money you leave behind, because those will be confiscated, they'll run out, but the legacy, and that's what we dwell on, the word of God, the word of history, the people who left famous great quotes. That's the legacy.
Okay, so that's good. I wanted to be sure that we got that out, because everyone has the ability to lift someone up, to speak words to individuals that have incredible power behind them.
Exactly, and they can be good. They can be simple words, simple words of good hope, good cheer, just a blessing. Say good morning, have a great day. Say wow, that's a beautiful dress you have on. Wow, your hair looks really, really nice. Wow, you look happy. And all these things that people say, wow, I didn't know someone would notice that.
And it doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything.
Just a kind spirit. But I wanted to, this show is Confronting Injustice, so we have to talk about justice, confronting injustice, and so, James, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. I'd like to know what is the connection between your work, your books, your writings, and confronting injustice?
Sure. Now, when I say justice, the other words that come up for me, words like fairness. Is that nice? Is it decent? Is it ethical? Is it balanced? And going back to the words we use, is it balanced? A person may call someone else such bad names, and it could be an outright lie. Is that right? Is it fair? And I'm reminded of the old, back in the day we called it the golden rule. You do unto others as you have them do unto you. And I think a lot of people forget about that. They think, I'm just going to say what I want. Yeah, I can say what I want. And I think, particularly now, with these third and fourth generations beyond our old school generation, that generation has evolved into a feelings and emotion culture, whereas old school is based on two things: principle and being practical. So you with who you were more respectful. He's based on feelings and emotion. Well, I'm going to say what I want. I don't care how they feel, but then you can't take it back. Right. So the question is, if people forget about that, what if somebody says something bad to you, or call you names out, call you out of your name? Yeah. So how do I relate that to the justice thing? I think it's, again, going back to what I was saying earlier, understanding the power of words. The power of words, and also understanding, listening to the words. Sometimes we can condemn ourselves based upon our understanding of what's being said.
Yes, I believe words can be more sharper than a bullet.
Absolutely, and
I was told that.
In the scripture it says that the tongue is the most dangerous. It's worse than a bullet because the tongue cuts. Words can think. Deep. So in terms of the justice part, I think if people understand, as I said in my opening, is understand the context in which things are. Sometimes people react, make matters worse. You call me this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna let you get away with this, and it goes on to beyond the point. Understanding the self. I can sit up under any ideology, any religion, any school, because I know myself. And I could just process it. Well, it doesn't apply to me. Right. And go for it.
I know that you've written a number of books about poetry that address injustice. Mm-hmm. I know that you've written songs that address injustice. That connection, like how did that, what's the connection? What's the passion? What drives
that?
It's
really about, again, justice, equality, fairness, and I think it centers, at the end of the day, it centers around love. Love encompasses so much. Understanding, patience, compassion, passion, tolerance. It includes all that. So I think if we sort of start educating our culture, our society, to really understand what love is. And love conquers all. To love yourself and love others.
When I think of injustice, I don't think of love.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I hear what you're saying, and I believe that, when you cut all the other stuff out, mm-hmm. love is what will make the difference. However, I don't see the two. I see justice as the opposite of displaying love.
Yeah, I understand. But injustice, and again, sometimes it could be relative. Sometimes it can be relative. For example, relative, particularly to people who don't take responsibility, who don't hold themselves accountable. For example, may take someone who is renting an apartment. They get only a certain amount of money. They blow it on other crazy things. And then 1 month, 2 months go by and so forth. They're not paying rent. So the landowner, they have bills too. So is it justified? Is it justice for that tenant not to pay the rent and just stand up to their responsibilities? Or is the table flipped and you say, oh, that was injustice. He evicted her. She got 3 children or whatever. So we look at it at a different lens. So is it justified? Is that justice? Is that fair? Is it equitable for the person to, could be male, female, whatever, to go as a free ride? About decency, about fairness. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. I think if we can continue to remind ourselves of that principle, then I think people say, well, if I do this, and there's some call it karma, and the Bible calls it, you reap what you sow. Right. You plant a seed, you plant an apple seed, you're gonna get an apple tree. You're not get lemons. Don't mix it. Don't mix it.
That's interesting.
So you put it out, it's coming back. And then it's gonna either come back to you, per se, or to your children, or your children. It goes back.
I have a question for you, because I want to make sure we have time for you to talk about a little more about that your role as an inspirational agent.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to sing that song that you developed. But I also want, it's difficult for me to understand really how you suffered injustices as a black male, educated, traveled across the world, speak many languages. How is it that you can be so happy and upbeat and all of this, having experienced injustice yourself?
Yeah, you're right. I've gone through a lot. People say, well, you're always happy. Don't think I'm not getting pushback from somewhere else and get discriminated and stuff. I see it, but I'm able to compartmentalize it and say that that's their problem. It's not my problem. They need help. I don't need help.
Everything is a choice. So I hear you saying you choose to not dwell on that. You choose.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And also understand, not to cut you off, but also understanding that our society, the world, people, there's various degrees of discretion. A lot of times people operate on discretion, either to act or not act. Mm-hmm. And that's in business, that's in education, that's in healthcare,
Absolutely.
everything. The person, they don't look so I don't want to be bothered with them. Or law enforcement, criminal justice, everything. The judges, everything, discretion was, it's time to go. Let me just make my ruling and I'm going home. Mm-hmm. The discretion. So I get that as well. Okay. Yes.
Talk about your role as an inspirational agent. How was that birthed? What is that about? I would love for you to sing the song, sort of leave us on a positive, upbeat note.
Okay, thanks. Again, I'll go back to when I spoke my personal experience, how that positive energy, the inspirations was poured into me. And then as I grew up, I wanted to share. I've learned so much. I've done so much. I wanted to share. And I understood about legacy. I mentioned is what you leave behind, what can further people, further society behind. So I went into education. I taught in the Boston public schools, taught in the Brockton public schools, and I went to China. I lived in Beijing, China, and for 3.5 years, and I taught English. And so how can I inspire people, say, you can do this? And for example, when I went to China, I wrote the song called Learning English is So Easy in a song. I put it in a song. And I said, you can do it. So the song said, learning English is so easy in a song. Learning English is so easy in a song. Learning English is so easy. And I had the children to sort of chorus say, it's so easy. Learning English is so easy in a song. Learning English is so easy in a song. And then I said, I can do it. So build up that confidence in that. And so that's why inspiration. So I found that this is a huge market. People need to be inspired. So much noise going on, so many distractions. People say, you can't do that. And oftentimes people hear from the home, hear from their partners, hear from themselves. Well, I'm not sure if I can do that. You can do it. If it's been done, you can do it. And if it's not been done, you still can do it. You can still do it. So the song, I decided I want to take it on a world stage. And with the technology and the ability to just do something one time and put it out to the millions and millions of people. And it's on its track for that. Is that I'm an inspiration agent, living to inspire. I want to see people lifted higher and higher. I don't want to see them down. I want to smile, not a frown. I'm an inspiration agent, living to inspire. I'm an inspiration agent and living to inspire. I want to see people lifted higher and higher. I don't want to see them down. I want to smile, not a frown. I'm an inspiration agent, living to inspire. So I want to encourage people, whatever you do in life, whatever you choose to do in life, it's walking dogs, painting walls, cooking meals, do it to inspire people. So they say, oh, this is some good food. Or how do you get that dog to behave so well? Well, that's a beautiful painting. And put it into our spirit, as my godmother did, Ernestine. Just find yourself just intentionally in complimenting people, encouraging them to say, have a wonderful day. That's a really beautiful thought. And it helps people say, wow, I can do it. Someone notices it's really good.
No, I mean, and something that is, when you inspire others, you build yourself up as well.
Yeah.
It really is reciprocal, and it builds your. I think it creates an energy when you're complimenting others, when you're being friendly, when you're being open-hearted. It really helps you as much as it does the person on the other end.
Absolutely, yes. And then again, some people, as I mentioned earlier, because my tag is like, hey, good morning, how are you? And they'll say, I'm fine, how are you? And I says, awesome and amazing, just like you. And some people, when I use that, I'd say, what? I say, you're awesome and amazing. And there's only one you. And when you're gone, when I'm gone, it would never be another me or you. And so you're here for a purpose. And once again, I encourage people to, as you go through life, even just pick up the phone, just think of the people and say, listen, I was just encouraging you. Just have a nice day.
Yeah, demonstrate gratitude. I do want to talk about the writing as a healing modality.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Confronting Injustice, in collaboration with the Innocent Convicts, developed this writing project for returning citizens to help them deal with their healing, particularly for exonerated individuals. And so you are the instructor and the coach for that project. Can you talk a bit about that?
Absolutely. I am very excited about this project because in this book here, I'm still holding my books. This is a book I wrote in 2015. It's a book writing guide. And having written so many books up to this point, I figured that there is a system, or I created a model for writing this book. And I simplified it and hopefully demystified this whole notion. People say, well, it takes so long to write a book. I've been working on it for 20 years. And I simplified and streamlined that process. So most people who are interested in writing a book, you can write your book within 60 days. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is when it came out in 2015, I tried and tested my own model. And I subsequently wrote a book in 30 days. Okay. And I said, let me see if I can refine that. And actually, there's a book subsequent to that I wrote in 1 day. So the point is you're inspired. And I'm excited about being part of this project because every life experience, one, we should learn from it.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't learn from the experience, you won't learn from it. And so I think, and then if we've made it through those experiences, it's there for a reason. Absolutely. For you to tell your story. Mm-hmm. So someone can say, wow, I don't believe that happened. I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to do this so it won't happen to me. So it should be inspired. Absolutely. Or even just telling that story, say, wow, you are amazing. How did you do it? Mm-hmm. And then you can the person can tell them, well, I did this, did what I was supposed to do, held myself accountable. So I'm excited about hearing the stories, encouraging them to write about the stories. Wonderful. And I know through writing and telling people's story, it's an opportunity to heal.
Absolutely.
And understand again what was happening, what was said, what they said. Remember I mentioned earlier about the reaction. Maybe it wasn't the proper reaction at the time. Maybe that is the reaction to the words they thought they heard is what got them into trouble. Because they get to watch this in their mouth, to keep it down.
So, I'd like to know how many books have you written?
Yeah, this is book number 58. And I have more books. That's the book that I've written. I've did some ghostwriting for many authors that are on in the marketplace. I've edited other books for people. Okay. And I just love hearing their story because everyone has a story.
So we are out of time, but we would like to thank you, Dr. Bruce, for being with us.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your sharing, and we appreciate your inspiration. We hope that people are feeling encouraged and motivated and inspired to do something that demonstrates gratitude.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And inspires others.
Yeah, I would like to just offer one challenge to everyone who's listening. Make it a point and pick a number, maybe 10 people or kinds. Make it intentional every day. Encourage, commend, compliment, or hug, or embrace, or if it's appropriate, give them a kiss. Everybody, even just say, Mom, I love you. We don't always agree, but I really love you. You mean so much. That extends life, I think, for people. Absolutely. Give them hope, courage, and a good future.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're
Good
welcome.
note to end on.
Like they say, don't let your faith be your fear.
There you go. I like that one too.
Thank you
Absolutely.
again,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Bruce, for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Absolutely.